Hi, um, it's another edition of the Counter Press. Me here, Fiifi-Manfred. Grateful to have you here. Um, so today's edition is also the transfer update edition for a lot of the transfers that have gone on in Europe. Neymar finally saying goodbye to Crystal Palace. The big one, Chelsea have lost out on Michael Olise. He has signed a contract extension with Crystal Palace. Lavia has officially been announced for Chelsea player. But who are going to be the possible replacement for Michael Olise at Chelsea Football Club? We are hearing Brandon Johnson from Nottingham Forest and also Leon's Bracola, wonderful wing. All of them right wingers that can play as interiors. Then the story of Mohammed Kudus and why his deal to Chelsea Football Club and every other club is dragging. I have that and more for you here. This is the Counter Press with me, Fiifi-Manfred. I'm grateful to have your time. Now, let's get into it. First of all, so as you already know, Chelsea had already spoken to Michael Olise. They had agreed personal terms even before talking to the club. Now, that is where the problem was. Crystal Palace's chairman, Parish, has been unequivocal in the last few weeks that Chelsea did tap on Michael Olise, and then they went on to get in without consulting Crystal Palace. So they spoke to Olise without the green light on Crystal Palace. And these things happen in football, in the transfer market. You're supposed to speak to the club. The club then gives you the green light, speak to him. Now, it happened in the Harry Kane transfer saga. There were secret trips from Thomas Tuchel traveling from Bayern Munich to London to meet with Harry Kane, to have conversations with him about how he wants him to play at FC Bayern Munich. Now, it was one of the reasons why Daniel Levy was pissed when Bayern finally approached him for the signature of Harry Kane. Now, it is seen for this Chelsea one. Chelsea, before they triggered the release clause of Crystal Palace, which is $35 million, in excess of about $44 million. Now, they had already spoken to Olise's entourage, Olise himself. They had given reasons why they think he should come to Chelsea Football Club and why he will thrive over there. Now, Crystal Palace got a hint of this. Once they got a hint of this, they threatened Chelsea to report them to the Sports Tribune, the FA Tribune in England, to find them culpable of tapping onto their player. And Chelsea knew that with widespread reports, with everything that was going on, they were going to be found culpable. So then they had to stay away from Michael Olise and then make sure that they keep their relationship with Crystal Palace. So they just pulled away from the deal, allowed Olise to go and sign a contract extension for 4 years over there. And in this 4 years, I'm very certain that the buyout clause for Michael Olise is going to increase. It is certain. Olise is not going to allow them take off the buyout clause completely. Whilst I'm sure Crystal Palace will not keep that buyout clause in there just like that for 35 million. They know that with the fact that Brighton and Hove Albion are making big money out of Caicedo and the likes, Olise is a big player. And if you look at the English Premier League, the top assist givers last season, he was in the top 5. And he was the only one in a proper team, in a Big 6 team. It was Michael Olise, joined third. And he gives you that directness. I've said this several times. The reason why Olise was favored in the English Premier League than Mohammed Kudus or even Ryan Cherki is his directness. It's the fact that he gives you goals and assists in games. And he's that kind of guy. So they always wanted him in that regard. And that's why he has gotten to where he is now. But Chelsea tapped on him. They made mistakes. Crystal Palace have signed a contract extension on him. Now he has missed out on Chelsea. And Chelsea have missed out on the young under 21 French player Michael Olise. He was already injured. He's going to go through his recovery process and then possibly join the Crystal Palace team under Roy Hodgson in there for Crystal Palace. But Chelsea have to move on. And in moving on, Chelsea have, the initial shortlist was Ryan Cherki, Mohammed Kudus, and then Michael Olise. Now, Ryan Cherki was checked out because he had issues with discipline. So Chelsea decided to stay away from Ryan Cherki. Now, apart from Ryan Cherki, there was Mohammed Kudus, Kudus, I'm sure without the Premier League experience and whatnot, and the fact that now West Ham are closing in on Mohammed Kudus, now Chelsea know it's going to be difficult to get Mohammed Kudus. Now, the next option was Olise, who is also now signed a contract extension for Crystal Palace. Now, the next name is Brandon Johnson. And once you hear the name Brandon Johnson, who plays for Nottingham Forest, played last season for Nottingham Forest, and how good he was in terms of the directness of Olise. You see, sometimes it's difficult, it's different for a midfielder or a winger to be dribbling and not have end product. Now, like Bernardo Silva, like Olise, these midfielders, interiors can play also from the wing, are very direct. And that's who Brandon Johnson is. Played for Crystal, played for Nottingham Forest. His goal contributions were in double digits, was very good under Steve Cooper's side. He was the main creative hub for that team. He's a wonderful dribbler from outside, cuts into that favorite left foot and creates the chances in there. Find those spaces because they are very integral in breaking down low blocks, and that's the kind of player Chelsea want. So again, the fact that he has an English Premier League experience, the fact that he's young, the fact that he's direct and has numbers, that sort of backs the tactical eye test that we see with these players. Chelsea would love to have him. Now, apart from that, there's Bracola, So Bracola is also French under 20 player, plays for Lyon. He was in the same team with Cherki. He's French like Michael Olise. Also a depth threat receiver. He is a lover of the ball in central areas, in those tight spaces. He's able to receive on the left side, on the left foot, on the right foot, receive and turn into those spaces. He's one of the best players that you can have in terms of those tight spaces area in the French Ligue 1 last season. Also has very good numbers. In fact, he set up Alexander Lacazette about 7 times last season. And that is how good he is from outright. From the right wing, also cuts in onto that foot. Cherki is more ambipedal. Bracola is a specialist of the left foot and cutting into that left hand space. And that's who he does. Very, very good player. The problem with Bracola is that PSG wanted both Cherki and Bracola. They went to Lyon before Ola left and they asked for Bracola and Cherki. They were quoted Bracola alone 35 million and then Ryan Cherki 40 million. Now PSG felt that was exorbitant and they weren't going to pay that much for these young talents. So whilst the deal isn't fully out, they are not. PSG have had a lot of things to take care of, like Mbappe and the like, so they've not really gone back to the table for that. So we're expecting that his fee is going to be around 35 million to 40 million. And then same for Brennan Johnson, also 35 to 40 million. These players are going to hope to come to Chelsea to get a job done. So Chelsea are moving away from Michael Olise, and the reason is clear. Now, the Mohammed Kudus conundrum. Why is Mohammed Kudus where he is? Why are his people not doing deal with Brighton and Hove Albion? Why are they choosing West Ham? And is it the best place for him? That's the next analysis that's going to go on. Just know that West Ham are closing on Mohammed Kudus. Very, very important. And the reasons are simple. Manchester City want to get Lucas Paqueta. If they do, Mohamed Kudus is going to be a big name in that West Ham team. If they do not, maybe that Kudus deal is going to hinge. And I'm hearing that the deal may be off for Paqueta because maybe he's not going to be there. But I want to tell you why Mohammed Kudus has been going through what he's going through. So yeah, but don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. This is the Counter Press.